I just drove in this morning, or actually Kevin drove. I watched him drive. We came in from Palm Desert this morning. We left at 5:30 in the morning, which was really 6:30, thank God. So I had a beautiful drive in this morning, and I knew what the theme was, and I knew what I was going to talk about. So this month's theme, living out loud. It's interesting, when Cliff got up to speak, pretty much that's how I grew up as a child myself. I grew up in Philadelphia, and I was constantly being told, "You're being too loud." I know that's hard to believe for most people. And I remember once during the 4th of July weekend, I was getting ready to go to a rehearsal for a play I was doing, and I came out of the house in a pair of red pants. Now, my older brothers, all kind of football player jocks, were in, jeans, and I had on these really tight red pants. And a really tight blue shirt, and I looked like a flag. And I remember coming down and just hopping down to the picnic table where they were all eating, and literally everything just stopped. They were all like, and I remember my dad just saying, "Don't you think that's just a little too much?" And I was like, "What?" He was like, "The colors. Don't you think that's a little too much?" And later in my life, I remember him talking to me about it and going, "I was just afraid you were going to leave the house and get beat up." Which I did. Get beat up when I was a little kid for being loud. I've always been a very loud person. But I don't mean vocally loud. I wasn't really, although I think I was loud as a child, vocally too. But I just mean I had so much creativity inside of me, and I always let it out. I just always let it out. Once I remember this new family moved into the street, and I decided to get all the kids together and throw a brunch for them. Now, this was the 70s. There was no such thing as brunch. That's like a new phenomenon. And I remember my mother just said to me, she said, "Why don't you just go over and say hello?" And I was like, "Because we should throw them a brunch. We should just do all the..." And we did. We threw them this incredible brunch. And I just remember for many years, I was like, how come nobody gets what I get? How come nobody gets that this is how you should live life? Really big. You should just live life big. So I'm going to go to some of these words, living out loud, because I really do want this month. I so want this month for you to be about taking risks, taking chances, going inside and finding talents you didn't even know you had. Finding things inside of you that maybe as a child you were poised to do, and someone said, no, pull that back. That's embarrassing. So this month we get that opportunity to just live out loud, live who we are, be who we are, without any fear of judgment. It's funny, when I bought these pants, and I know I talked about this before, I don't wear them a lot. I don't have a lot of things they go with, to say the truth. I should buy some new things that they go with. But when I got home from Palm Springs this morning, I ran in to change. And the very first thing I did is put on black dress slacks, and I had this gray shirt on. And I looked in the mirror and I went, "Yeah, that's loud." I was like, wow, it's so funny. My go-to is just darker colors, So I thought, no, do something spontaneous. Pull the red pants down and figure it out. There's got to be something in your closet that matches red. And then I thought to myself, I swung open the closet doors. Again. And I just looked inside. Thank you. Did you just get that, Karen? Okay, good. I love that. Everybody's laughing. It's like, that's really fun. You are loud. So I flung open my closet doors, and I looked in, and I went, you have a lot of grayish, dark, bluish colors. And I was like, you know what? It's time for me even, just my palette, to just get more colorful. Anybody else feel like they want to just get more colorful? So let's make this month the month where you really wear your colors to church. Okay. What if Sunday mornings for the month of November were I'm loving this, I'm thinking this up as we're going along. What if every morning for the month of September, you came here in your loudest colors? Wouldn't that be awesome? Because we don't pan you with the cameras, so it won't disturb our viewers at home. It'll just disturb them when I show up. No, but you too at home, don't just lay there in your pajamas. Switch out your pajamas, that's it, yeah. Put something vibrant on. That's what we need to do. You all with me for this? Yes. Who's here for the first time? We don't always talk like this. Not always. But if you come back, which you may not, if you come back, wear something colorful. Although that's pretty colorful. Yeah, you did well. You did well. Who else is here for the first time? Yeah, you're in gray, okay. You're in black, okay. See, this is what happens. You're in gray, okay. So if you come back, I expect colors. We all good? Yeah. Loud colors. Caressa? Loud? Caressa's like, no problem. Okay, good. So the word loud means characterized by high volume or intensity. Characterized by high volume or intensity. But volume means the level at which something is heard. The level at which something is heard. So my question is this, because now we're going to turn this in a little bit of a different direction. Does the universe hear you? We live in a universe where the law is always listening, and it is always saying yes to whatever we tell it. Not just with words. You can scream as loud as you could possibly scream what it is you desire, and if your belief doesn't support it, it doesn't hear you, because your belief speaks louder than your voice. So, does the universe hear you? The title of my talk today is, I Can't Hear You. I can't hear you. And I have this idea of God, the inevitable law of the universe that listens and always hears and always says yes, is always available, always accessible, always on my side, but always saying yes to what I tell it to say yes to. And I have a vision of God that also knows itself as the allness, I love the Rumi quote, as the allness in the drop. That means the entire ocean inside of me, listening to what I'm saying and knowing what I should be saying and saying, I can't hear you. Where's the truth? Where's the truth that you are vibrant and full of creativity? Where's the truth that your body is healthy? Where is the truth? Where's the truth? I can't hear you. Where's the beef? So think about that. Are you loud enough in your mind with what you know that the universe is hearing you? What are you saying to the universal law of life? We had a beautiful speaker this Wednesday night, Greg Thurlaway. How many of you were here for that? He was so remarkable. It was his first talk ever, and it was just, it blew me out of the water. He was so incredible. And his whole talk was, what story are you telling? What are you telling? What story are you telling? Every day we're telling a story. And in light of what I'm talking about, we are constantly talking to the universe in a voice that is telling the universe what we want it to say yes to. So are you loud enough with the story you want to live, or is the story you're telling really loud and it's not what you want to live? Are you still telling the same story about why this is happening, why this didn't happen, why I'm this, that, or the other thing? Because sometimes we're very loud with those stories. The old story of my life, how I got to be who I am today. When the universe is just waiting for you to drop it all and really get who you are in such a vibrant way that you start being loud with the truth of who you are. So, loud, one of the definitions was intensity. Intensity means this: exceptionally great concentration of power or force. Intensity, exceptionally great concentration of power or force. Not force like this, but power, the force of power through you. Do you know, and I do know, that there is a power for good in the universe, and you can use it. Not only can you use it, but you are using it. And not only are you using it, but you are it. That's what we study. That's what we're here to know and remember. That there is this intensity inside of us, this divine force that is constantly moving up and through, moving out into the universe, and gives us the opportunity every day to start our day, as Heather so beautifully wrote, I start each day in prayer. Prayer doesn't mean I'm kneeling down beseeching something to make me whole. Prayer in New Thought means that I am using my mind constructively to do what I want in my life. So, is the universe hearing you in what you really want to do? How much of your power are you living? And I'm asking that to all of us. How much of our power are we living? Living out loud means to be living your power and to be living your purpose. And I know there's a lot of talk these days about, finding my purpose. Well, you don't have to find your purpose. You just have to live from purpose. And that thing in you takes you through the purpose of life. And it's not always what you think it is. Have any of you ever found that what you thought was your purpose isn't? Anybody else? Yeah. I thought my purpose in life was to be the most amazing actor ever. And so I made that happen. And then suddenly it wasn't enough. But I really did. I thought the purpose in my life was going to be an actor for the rest of my life. I remember living in New York, first saying, I will never leave New York. Who could live anywhere but New York? I'm not so good with New York these days when I go in there. It's so crazy. And I remember thinking to myself, how could I do anything but act? Oh my God, I was born to act. But here's the funny thing about that. And someone said to me when I was back in Philly last week, they said, well, you still get to act every Sunday. And I was like, oh my God. If I am acting on a Sunday morning, I have totally missed the point. And I'm not. I'm really not. You get me. This is who I am. I am very transparent in my life. I don't leave here and turn into someone else. This is it. This is how I show up all the time. So my purpose of acting transformed itself, but gave me all the tools I needed, including tap dancing, to end up being a minister that was able to use everything that I learned and put it into this. And this ends up being my purpose. Well, thank you. So living out loud means that you live on purpose, from purpose, as purpose, and not giving a damn what anyone else thinks about it. How many of you are still living a life where you worry what someone else is going to think about it?
Not anymore.
Not me.
Well, then I'm taking this talk over to the other church. I hope not you. I hope none of us anymore, but I will tell you this. There are moments I still have that thought. It leaves me quickly, but if something comes up and I start going, wow, I wonder what so-and-so is going to think about that, it just can't. It just can't. That's what living out loud. That's what you get to do this month. Really live your life in such a way that you don't care what other people think. And I don't mean that in a cold, mean way. I mean you don't care because it's none of their business. You know that book that Terry Cole Whitaker wrote, What You Think of Me is None of My Business? I think the important part of that should be a new book called What I Think of Me is All of My Business. Because it's what I think of me that really matters. So, driving in from Palm Springs this morning, the clouds were just spectacular. And there was a moment when we drove out of Palm Desert, it was so beautiful and blue, but we could see this huge black cloud in front of us. And as we got under the black cloud, and it was very dark all of a sudden, there was this circle above me where it was just completely blue on the other side of that cloud. It was a very low, hovering cloud. But this blue, this little circle of blue, I looked up and I went, oh my God, this is what we do. We live very often under this cloud of relative facts of our life, when right there above us is the blue sky. Right above all these relative facts is the blue, is the perfect, is the infinite, is the pure possibility. And I started to think about all the relative facts in my life that stop me from living out loud. All the things in my life that get my attention to such a degree that I literally forget about the blue. And then I realized, if I were to go up through that cloud, up to the highest level of consciousness I have, I could still see those relative facts. But I'd be seeing it from such a beautiful, spacious place of infinite possibility. Those clouds down there, they really wouldn't matter very much. And I'd probably have a more expansive understanding of what to do with them. So this month, as you live out loud, you get to literally go right up through any barriers you may have. And even though those things may still be there, you're going to be able to look at them with a much different consciousness, if you're willing to do it. So when you live out loud, you live on purpose. Not by default, not in reaction to all the things in your life. How many people find themselves reacting to their lives? Right. So we react, and then we kind of sometimes throw everything out the window until we find our sanity back again. Anybody else? Just me? So I have 3 components for you to think about for this Living Out Loud month, and it's this. Number 1 is to make conscious and deliberate choices. Living out loud means you make conscious choices. You stay awake. You consciously make choices, and they're deliberate. Ever make a really big, deliberate choice and just wish you hadn't? They're the choices I'm asking you to think about this month. Literally. Especially if something fearful comes along and says, oh, I shouldn't do that. But whatever came to you first was the initiating passion. So, conscious and deliberate choices. I want you to really concentrate on that this month. Number 2, I want you to give whatever your life is your full attention. Whatever's going on in your life now, I want you to give it your full attention. Don't get lost waiting for tomorrow to come. In order to live out loud, you have to be in the present. So live out loud with whatever it is you're doing. I have more people come to me telling me that they're not happy in what they do in life, in their jobs, in their creative expression. And while what we know is that if you're not, let it go and create what's good for you. Create what you want. But what I'm suggesting this month is that if you are doing something, whatever it is, even if you're not crazy about it, do it bigger. Do it fully. Just throw caution to the wind and just do it out loud. If you're a waitress and you don't like waiting on tables, wait on them loudly. Wear some vibrant colors unless you're in a uniform, and then add a little color. But live it out loud. So that's number 2. Give whatever your life is your full attention. We spend too much time waiting for it to happen tomorrow. And you know what happens then? Tomorrow never comes. Because if I live my life like this, as I approach it, it still stays there. Right there. So that's number 2. Number 3, and this is the biggest one, I think, get out of your comfort zones. I am being pushed out of my comfort zone right now. We are, as you all know, we are selling this building. I am looking for a new space for the center. I want a bigger space so that we don't have an overflow room. It is happening very swiftly. It's uncomfortable for me at times. It's the exact right thing. And yet I am watching everything change around me. Everything is changing. All of my comfort zones are being redefined. Everything about ministry is changing. It's all changing. And I have 2 options. Change with it, or just have a miserable experience. And that's all our option, isn't it? That's what we get to do. So, my job is, and what I'm suggesting for all of us, is that we actually jump in. And whatever's going on, let it go on as loud as possible and be a part of it. Really be a part of it. And get out of your comfort zones. If you are comfortable, there's more to know. And I don't mean that comfort is a bad thing. I love comfort. I love comfort. I love comfort when I'm in the midst of doing something wacko, crazy, amazing. I like to maybe end my day in some comfort of meditation or something. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the comfortable life that starts becoming unlivable. Because it's so comfortable, nothing's happening. You're not expanding. You're not growing. So, the French writer Émile Zola, he wrote this: I am an artist. I am here to live out loud. And that makes sense for a man who was a leading proponent of theatrical naturalism in the late 1800s. He was twice nominated for the Nobel Prize in Literature because he insisted on truth. And the reason why I bring this up, naturalism in writing and acting, is because naturalism in acting requires you to be truthful, requires you to be honest. It's the hardest type of acting, and it's, for me, the best type of acting. Because if someone can be honest and real within a role, I get touched. Meryl Streep is one of the greatest naturalistic actresses ever. And Helen Mirren, these women, Robert De Niro, they inhabit each character, but they're natural. They're not acting, they're actually living from a truth within themselves that they then let out. So that's what this man was a proponent of. And I bring that up because the only way to act that way, and I do love acting, I will say that, and I certainly pride myself in being honest in my acting, the only way to do that is to get out of the way. But that's acting. Now, in living, we have the same job in front of us. Get out of the way. Get all of your, as Emerson says, but I'm actually going to read the quote correctly. I always paraphrase him. He says this: "Let us take our bloated nothingness out of the way of our divine currents." So I always say, get your bloated nothingness out of the way. But he says, let us take our bloated nothingness out of the way of our divine currents. So there is something in you that is so real, so natural. It's natural. It's the truth of your being. It's who you are. And we cover it up very often with a lot of stuff that goes on in our lives. And then we actually take on a character and live that character, when what we're really being asked to do is just be natural. Be natural. Be the entire ocean in the drop. You have the entire ocean in the drop. Why are you living like a drop in the ocean? It's a huge difference. Rumi is one of my favorite poets. So as we go through this month, you have an opportunity, and you have to start today by stating that this is something you want to do, that you are asking yourself to get out of your comfort zones, to live everything fully, to give everything your all. Do it all fully. People say to me all the time, they're like, how do you get so much accomplished? And the truth is, I do give everything my full attention, which is why my life is so full. Really full. Sometimes so full that I have to pull it back. So this is a great opportunity for all of us, every single one of us, to literally get our bloated nothingness out of the way of our divine circuits. You have them right there within you. So this month, I want you to live out loud. I want you to live with intensity, and I want you to let them hear you. I want you to let the world hear you. And I'm going to do, I need to do a little exercise here. It's going to take a second. Hey, Maria, would you come up and do so? Would you volunteer for me? And Sonia, would you volunteer for me? It's okay, trust me, come down. Sonia, trust me, yes, please, come down. Talk amongst yourselves while they walk here. Come down, Sonia. So, living out loud requires you to take chances, right? To take risks. You two okay? Can I use you? I can pick someone else. You good? Yes. Okay, good. So, Kim, you want to help? Oh, okay. So, living out loud requires you to take risks, take chances, to literally go out of your comfort zone and create what you want out of your life. So I have a little exercise here that I'm going to do. I'll help you guys up. Come up, Maria. Come on up. Here we go. Sonia, yeah, I got you. Good? Okay. I promise this won't be painful. So, let me get this out of the way. You may have to take some clothing off. Oh, I'm just kidding. So, one of the things that is, I'm going to give you a microphone, okay? Which scares me to give you a microphone, but just Try to control it. So one of the things that is the scariest thing, and certainly in living out loud, is love. Love can be very scary. But sometimes in life, love just so bubbles up and comes to the surface, has worked itself through so many things that it just has to express itself. So Maria, why don't you take over?
I just wanted to tell everybody a little bit of a story. I know this woman for about 30 years. 28 years she opened her heart and her home to me when I needed it the most. I was all alone in this country and no place to go. I had just left my husband of 11 years. So she took me in, no questions asked. She helped me ever since. She had helped my family. Anytime we needed her, she was there for me. She had asked me many times to marry her, and I wasn't sure. You know, my Catholicism got on the way. That was a sin. You know, what do I do if somebody finds out? A lot of things went into my mind, so I always kept saying no, 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 no. But now, in this teaching, I got the courage to take the bull by the horns and I am in this point in my life that I need her to know that I'm here for her, for better or for worse, until death do us part. So, with humility, which is very hard for me to be, I will ask this woman, can you marry me, please? It's from sales.
So Maria asked me, she said yes. Maria asked me if she could do this last month, and I had already known we were doing Living Out Loud next month. And I said, you know what, let's do it on the opening Sunday of Living Out Loud. And I said, but Maria, I said, what if she says no? I said, that would be a really bad ending to my talk. And she said, if she says no, I will kill her, we won't have a wedding, we'll have a funeral. So, in conclusion to my talk, you just witnessed someone living out loud. I expect every single person in this room to now top it. Seriously. We live in an infinite universe. Anything is possible. Figure out what your thing is and do it. You've got a month here to do it. Namaste. Woo!